Repeat after me. I will not choose to be a weak, depleted coomer. Okay, now that we've got that squared away as well, let's go ahead and get into the topic for today, which is semen retention, helping you and assisting you in conquering and addressing your personal demons. Now, one of the reasons why you're going to be able to address your demons more fervently on the semen retention journey is because the longer your streaks, the more you're going to be able to dig at certain things that are coming up in your psychology and in your trauma, if you had any trauma in your past, etc., etc. And it's going to make you face your problems head on. You're not going to have any other choice because you're going to have to transmute and evolve some way. You're going to have to do something about the retention process, and whether you are aware of it or not. Now, one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of people that I'm doing consultations with that are on semen retention is they have a challenge with the relapse. Now, of course, this is normal, and I'm not saying that you should feel good about relapsing, but I'm not saying you should feel bad about relapsing either. There might be some hints of shame or fear or anything like that pop up or come into play. And while fear and shame are powerful agents and motivators, they're not necessarily going to be of utility in the semen retention journey and process. And it's also the case that stagnation is going to kill your spirit on this journey as well. If you're retaining, but you're not doing anything with the energy, bro, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. That's when the devil will start to show up. That's when the temptations will start to amp up. That's when the edging will start to go up, etc. You know, people usually feel one of two ways when they have a relapse. They're feeling really, really negative, or they're feeling really, really positive. I know when I was going through my edging process, and just when I was edging, like I couldn't even help myself. Like I couldn't even not look at a woman. And this was about a year ago when I was going through this refining and alchemic process. It was like I couldn't even help myself. And I didn't know what it was actually called edging at the time. I just knew that I had this unbelievable urge to not stop looking at women. And I was able to overcome it, and I was able to at least observe what was actually happening, even though I didn't have a name for it at the time. I just knew that I couldn't stop. And even when I was really trying to not look, it was as if the women around me were being drawn even more to me. And so I had even deeper temptations of lust being added to me. And so one thing that I learned was that you're going to be carrying the essence of godliness on your semen retention journey, and you have to be able to harness that power properly, because if you don't, you're going to be like Hercules when he's still a teenager. And if anybody has seen the movie Hercules, remember when the cartoon version, that is, when he's going into town and he's helping his dad, his human dad at the time, like get some groceries or whatever, and he ends up accidentally destroying the whole like merchant shops or whatever, just by his mere strength, because he can't control his strength. That's, metaphorically speaking, what's going to happen to you on semen retention, if you don't know how to control yourself, you're going to be this person that just can't contain themselves. Because even though semen retention gives you the opportunity to chill out and to focus more on the here and the now, if you're too idle with all that energy stored up, it's going to just want to release wherever it can, whether that's with a woman, whether that's with just yourself doing PMO, whatever it is, that's what's going to happen. And so some people also are going to be unhealthily obsessed with you. This is something that is still going on for me to this day. And it's not necessarily that you are, well, even though you are a targeted individual, if you're a chosen one, especially if you're practicing semen retention, it's not necessarily that you're going to be the targeted individual in the sense that I have talked about in previous videos. It's going to be the targeted individual in the sense of you're like the fixation of their projections of the animus, which is, for women anyway. And remember, the anima and the animus are Jungian psychological concepts in which the animus represents the totality of masculine experiences with a man in a woman's psyche, and then the anima is the totality of feminine experiences within the man's psyche. So it's not necessarily that you have a woman or a man living inside you psychologically. It is the fact that you have an essence of what it means to be a woman or a man inside your psyche, and you project that out into the world in one way, shape, or form or another. And if you happen to be the kind of person that is highly checking the boxes on all of the lists of what it means to be a masculine man in a woman's mind, such as like any kind of pre-selection process or any kind of strength or protection or safety or provisions, anything like that, if you check those boxes, then you're going to be the object of their projected animus. And so you have to recognize that within other people, that you might have to go through this process, and it can be kind of a freaky process to begin with. You know, it's not really fun. Not only do you have to deal with your own problems now and what you're going through, now you have to deal with people just awkwardly staring at you. Now, on the flip side, men may try to project their shadow onto you. Now, again, the shadow is a Jungian concept of which it is an archetype in your psyche. The levels of the main four archetypes are the persona, the ego, the shadow, the animus/animus, and then five. And then at the very lowest region is the self. So when people are projecting their shadows onto you, because women can do this too when you're on semen retention, and when you're not, but specifically when you're on semen retention for the purposes of this video, when a woman is projecting her shadow onto you, she's going to be very skilled at using betrayal and damnation in your presence and to your name. Whereas the man is going to be very envious, and he's going to project that envy onto you, and he's also going to project a hint of not just jealousy, but of a threat of violence almost. It's so crazy to me because sometimes when I'm walking around, I usually get like 2 or 3 kinds of people around me as far as men go. They either have respect for me and they have some kind of admiration of what I'm doing, or they hate my guts because of what I'm doing, and they do not like me because of what I'm doing. And it's almost like there's no real neutral ground. Like, there's no real neutral ground anymore. Like, nobody's really just cool. It's kind of weird. I can be cool. I can be chill. I'm just here. But a lot of the times people are going to want to project certain things about themselves that they feel like they're missing onto you. And you're going to have to realize and know when to cut ties with certain people. This is another part of the process of facing your demons on semen retention. Because a lot of the times your demons are the people around you. And I know that sounds kind of harsh and that sounds kind of just not what you want to hear. But it's true. A lot of the times the people that are most trying to keep you in the bucket with the crabs are the ones that are closest to you. Now, there's a movie called Gladiator. And in that movie, the gladiator is originally a Roman general, and he ends up going through this whole spill with the emperor, who is slain by the emperor's son. And the emperor's son now becomes the emperor, and he basically kills his whole family. He kills his whole essence of being, really, as far as the name of his goes. But the gladiator is able to get away. Now, why is he a gladiator? Because he gets away, but then he gets picked up as a slave by some of these people. Now, where am I going with this? Well, he gets picked up as a slave, and then he fights his way into the Roman Colosseum, where he's able to get his vengeance. He's able to actually start living again, living with a purpose, and he wants to see a dream realized. And he has tremendous fortitude of mind, he has tremendous spirit, he has tremendous will. This is the kind of willpower you're going to be able to develop on retention if you are properly associating yourself with the right kind of people. If you are not associating yourself with the right kind of people that are uplifting you, that are encouraging you, that are supporting you, that are actually wanting to hold you accountable and see you succeed, if you're not going to be around those kinds of people, you're going to be the person that is slain in the gladiator realm. You're going to be the person that just is distracted, can't really find their way, and ends up getting spiritually killed because of it. If you want to keep distracting yourself, that's your prerogative. That's not my business, really. However, if you want to really succeed on this journey, which I am nearly 1 year and 4 months in now, been on this journey since last May, and one thing that I have noticed is that it just gets deeper and deeper. There's really no end to it. And of course, you're not going to have the best days all the time, but you're also not going to have the worst days all the time. It's going to be a balance. It's going to be a specific kind of spiritual growth where there's going to be growing pains, and you're going to have to be willing to endure them. You're going to have to just really tough it out. Like, I know that sounds kind of silly to say, but there really is no other way for a lot of these different kinds of obstacles that you're going to be facing on this journey. The demons that you're going to have to fight are oftentimes, most of all, within you. And you may not even know it until it actually comes up. And I know I only relapsed one time when I first started retention, and it was after 3 weeks. And I relapsed the one time, and I felt like death for the next day or two. I was like, wow, this is just horrible. It was like I had no idea what I was missing. I had no idea that I was being spiritually So much more spiritually unfulfilled than I could have been when I was doing PMO. And I hadn't watched pornography since 2 years ago. But I was still playing with myself up until April last year, and then tried it again, and boy, I have not gone back. And I do not ever see myself doing that ever again. It was just the most horrendous feeling. It was like I was being stuck in a dark hourglass for 2 days. And finally, when I was able to switch to the other side, it was like I saw the light again after those 2 days. And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, okay, nope, never doing that again. Never, ever doing that again. That was all I needed to see for recognition and confirmation that this journey is the real deal. This is not a joke. And when I actually started to take it more seriously and just treat it as a lifestyle, it's not like I'm obsessed with retention. Because that's one of the reasons why I don't want to make semen retention videos so often. Like, I do think that they're valuable and I do want to talk about it, but I don't want people to be so stuck on retention. Like, you have so much more to work on and deal with than just retaining your seed and worrying about relapsing. Who gives a crap if you relapse? Who cares? You're going to have to just keep going. Like, there's no other way to go about it. You're going to have to burn through that lust one way or another. And I'm not encouraging you to do so, but I'm not saying that you're wrong for doing it anyway. It's a process. Do you trust the process? Do you trust the Most High? Do you trust that the Most High has your back? Do you have faith in yourself? Do you have belief in yourself? These are the kinds of questions that you're going to need to start asking yourself, honestly, and accept the honest truth about it. If you don't trust yourself, if you don't honor yourself, if you don't treat yourself with dignity or have integrity for yourself, be honest about it and do what needs to be done to make the changes to move forward in this life. We really don't have too much time on this earth to worry about silly things. Keep going, keep moving forward, and if you have to face the demon that is your ego, then by golly, you're going to have to do that. And sometimes it takes killing the past in order to move forward into the future. And I'm not saying that you should do that right now. I'm just saying that that is a possibility that you're going to have to contend with. And you're going to have to wrestle with God when it comes to that. So with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.